So we've got Cash Cowant as our specialist deck profile man. Extraordinaire, yeah. So, fair to say, this has been one of your favourite decks over the last 2 years. You enjoy playing a lot of Tenyi. If you haven't played Tenyi, you've played BA. If you haven't played BA, you've played Tenyi.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I've played it since release when it was a bad deck and there was limited card pool. I picked up all like the OTS supers and things like that just because I looked at them and thought, wow, these are quite cool. I read them and they were like, yeah, it's got room for potential. And then when Sword Soul come out of just this deck, just Tenyi Sword Soul just turned into like a meta deck. Oddly enough.
I mean, so you are playing Sword Soul cards in this deck, but it's still very cheap.
7 Sword Soul cards, so it is very budget still, like extremely budget. And
you could probably build this deck for like £50 if you went to a locals. You could pick up the cards for free.
Less, I'd say £50 is probably the max you'd have to spend on this, like this list.
Yeah.
And then if you've got cards anyway, then it's just very cheap as well.
Having said that though, you've got some of the cards in Super. They've come in common.
They've come in the Megatins. Yeah, they did get a reprint in the Megatins. But yeah, Tenyi's just a really budget deck, and the fact that we do have some Sword Soul cards that are still really cheap just makes this deck more playable. So we'll just get straight into it. We're playing 3 of all the good ones. So 3 Adara, 3 Vishuda, and 3 Ashina. They all share the same effect. If you control a non-effect monster, you special them from your hand. If you control a no-effect monster, you can special them from your hand. If you control a non-effect monster, you can trigger the second effect. This summons from deck, this bounces a card, this returns a win. 3 of the good ones, then 2 of each of the bad ones. Quote-unquote bad ones. This protects your non-effect monsters from targeting. This basically decreases an opponent's monster by 15 attack when it attacks a non-effect monster. And then this, when a non-effect monster is destroyed, you can banish it, summon it back, pop a card without targeting. We play 15 names because you do want to see some Tenyis in the hand. We are playing 3 Sword Soul of Taie. This is literally the best worm monster in the deck. You normal it, you can banish a worm monster or a Sword Soul card from your graveyard, summon a token, and then you basically make the level 8 synchro, and then you get to send a worm monster and add a trap, and basically have a negate. So like this card is searchable from the quick play spell we play in the deck. Tribute non-effect monster, summon it. So a search basically. You can't special this off the spell because it negates the effects. You have to add it and then normal it. But normaling is not a problem in this deck because everything else is a special summon. So Taie just adds more ceiling to the deck. It adds more power, more consistency. So Taie is really good. We play 3 of it and it's 99p on eBay. You play the meme. It's super.
And how did you get it in Super?
We got the. I bought the 6 of the god decks, so 3 Scythe, 3 Obelisk, and this came in the Obelisk one.
Probably the most useful card in those decks.
Pretty much. Bar Harpy's Feather Dust there, so I've got 6 Harpy's Feather Dust there. But basically, at a 5 each, I couldn't say no. And we get the Harpy's Feather Dust, which is like £4 each. So basically, I'm making me money back and getting a deck and getting memes. So we only play 1 of this now. Past list, we played 2 or 3. And the reason we play 1 of this now is because if we literally get Taie, we just mill this from the deck.
What if you see this in your hand? How bad? Is it fine?
Yeah, like this is arguably one of the only decks in the whole game that doesn't mind opening Meta. Like, hence why we played 3 in the past, because you can just discard it off Shaman and summon it back as long as you got a worm in the graveyard to target beforehand. 6 hand traps. You can play more, you can play less. You can play go with second cards. Just generic hand traps, Ash and Veiler. You could play Imperm, just these don't clash with the field spell, but the field spell doesn't really come up that often. We're playing 3 of the best spell. This basically dumps any worm to add the Tenyi monster. It's incredible. It just gets you started. So any Tenyi name in this is literally combo, which is nice. We've got the on par spell. So you tribute a non-effect monster to either add a worm or special summon it and negate its effects. And then when it's in grave, you can banish it and add any Tenyi card as long as you control a non-effect monster. This searches Taie if you tribute a token or a monk. So you could literally go Tenyi into monk, tribute the monk, add Taie, get you a negate and a search. So this is really good. Again, still very cheap all the way through. 3 Chalice just helps you go second. Play through boards. This deck already plays through boards quite well with likes of a shooter. So this is just nice. You could play this. You can play more hand traps over this if you wanted to. Bump it up to 9. You could also play droplets. Drops is pretty good in this deck, to be fair. You can get stuff in the graveyard. But yeah, it's quite nice. Call by the Grave, foolish, just staple. Call by the Grave's got to be played in literally every list ever because it's just so sacky and really good. And then Foolish is just nice to have a name in the group. Some Murmur, Yellow, anything like that. You play the 1 Field Spell, which also got a Super Bump. That is just my phone, don't worry about that. It protects your non-effect monsters. It protects all non-effect monsters in the field. So I've learned from Master Duel that it protects Blue Eyes. That they control, which is annoying. And then if your opponent summons, you get to draw 2. We are playing 1 of the Counter Trap is searchable off the Quick Play spell, and we're still playing Blue Eyes in the extra deck for that one time it comes up, ever. Still really good though. And then we are playing 3 Block Health. This, a 3 may just seem a bit weird, because it is searchable, but like this in any Tenyi is literally like is pop 2. So like, it helps make your bad hand better. As long as you open a Tenyi, you can pop 2 cards. As long as you drawing this in a Tenyi, you get to pop 2 cards. So it makes the bad hands good, essentially. And that's it. That's it for the list, the main deck. Anyway, moving on to the extra deck. Fortunately, we haven't got 3 Super Monk of the Tenyi.
Give it time.
This came in Super as well. You need to be playing 3 of them because this is literally how you play the deck. Like, if you don't have non-effect monsters, you can't. 2 Shaman. You don't need any more. This shouldn't come up when you need a 3rd. It really shouldn't. There's a nice thing you can do with this. Basically, this helps you pump out the Murmur. And that's the only real way you can get to summon a Murmur. We don't play Yazzie or any access to Yazzie, which I might change because you could just throw Destrudo in the deck. And literally, as long as you open Destrudo or a way to send it, you can make Yazzie with any level 4. And then pop Yazzie, pop a card, summon Murmur from the deck. So that's another like interesting point. I haven't tried it yet, but this is the only real way we summon Murmur. Discard a card, summon a worm from grave. So that's how we summon Murmur. And then if a non-effect monster battles, you can destroy a card. So there's a nice little soft lock you can do where you make this the link 4 non-effect monster. They can't attack you. They can't attack the effect monster, they have to attack the non-effect monsters. And then if they attack the non-effect monster, you pop. So this is kind of funny. We're playing Lampholincus. The reason we're playing this is just in case you run out of monks or like you're stuck with an effect monster, you can just link it off into this, and then you can still play Tenyi. 1 Berserker. Again, it's a normal monster. It helps you link out sometimes. Just more generic stuff because it just takes 2 monsters, including a link monster. It's a 3k beta. It's quite nice. 1 of the Draco Masters. This helps you clear boards, so it's quite funny because you can summon Murmur back off the Shaman, and then you just link the Shaman and the Murmur off for this, and then you still have 3 tokens. You will have used at least 1 monk, so you could pop 4 monsters on the field with this. 4 effect monsters, should I add. So that comes up sometimes. It's quite a nice little board clear, and then you can just link for the link 4. Speaking of link 4, literally the best link in the deck. Just makes it everything, all your effect monsters untargetable, and can't be targeted for attacks. And then basically gives you more resources each turn by pumping out tokens as well. Really good. We play Shizao, which is the most expensive card in the whole deck.
That's a strong £8.
Which is a strong £8. Is
this played a 3 of in Sword Soul?
I think it's 2 of in Sword Soul. You could arguably play 2 of it in this. You don't really need to. It's not like... With this, you're kind of making a board going first, and if you break a board's going second, so it's kind of a really good deck. Basically, it searches you Blackout, which is the trap, and then is it on field negate by banishing a worm. Play Berserker. This is the banish in the Tenyi deck. It's quite nice because sometimes you get stuck where you don't have an effect monster. You just link this off because it is a Tenyi. Baxia. This very rarely comes up, but you do play it because we are playing Chalfing as well. So the matchups where light attributes are a big thing. So like the Dry Tram matchup, you can literally summon Baxia. The way to summon Baxia is you have to hard make it. So you have to make it for shoot. You have to summon a level 7 and a 1. Make this, set a card, pop the card, summon back the 1, make Chalfing. Can't use light monster effects. Very good. Because if you use Shaman, you are locked into activating monsters from the X deck that are Tenyis. So it applies with basically all of these. So you have to make Shizao before you use Shaman's effect. You can't plus off this otherwise. So they're the synchros we play. We're playing Tornado Dragon.
Very rarely see you play this.
Very rarely comes up But for the instances where it will come up, it is handy to have because it is a worm monster. Why wouldn't you play a worm monster in the extra deck? I don't know. There is other lines where you can play like Appaloosa in the extra deck as long as you play like Parallaxy. It's just a bit gimmicky. Like basically you make Shaman, then you Parallaxy, and then you summon Link Spider, Link Karibo. Oh, Link Spider, and then what's the other one? The Lingaribo.
Oh, the one with the traps.
And then you literally link all 4 into an Appaloosa.
Yeah.
But then you
But
can't.
it takes up a lot of extra spots.
Yeah, so like you could probably cut these two.
And we play the Blue Eyes for the trap.
Yeah, because
you can make it 4 or 5 towers essentially.
Yeah. So basically, this is a story where your opponent's card affects you summon this from there, and then if you have the field, well, it's kind of funny.
Is it when it's destroyed, or is it if they cosmic that? Oh, okay.
When it's destroyed, you could cut these two for literally like Lingaribo, Appaloosa, and then you could.
Land for Service, I assume would go.
You could probably cut these 3 and play like the Appaloosa package, or you could play Baguska. Like, if you play Parallax, you could probably cut all these and play the Appaloosa package. To me, it just seems a bit like win more.
I mean, you're already winning, yeah.
Yeah, like I'd rather not play them cards because like if you're trying to resolve yellow as well, like you get locked into worms anyway. So you might as well just keep these in. They're pretty decent. They rarely come up, and then we got the tokens as well.
Are they OTS 2+2?
They're dual avatar tokens.
Dual avatar.
They haven't made Tenyi tokens, which is really frustrating. But that's it. That's literally the deck. It is very, very cheap.
Fun to play.
Super fun to play. Like
your opponents never know what they do, are they?
No, never. Like no one knows what a Tenyi card does until like they read it. But it is really fun to play. It is kind of a good deck as well. Like it outsboards going second really easy. Vishuda's such an insane card. Yeah, like literally with the inclusions of like Taie and the trap, the deck does so much more going first with 2 cards. So like 2 cards and literally like trap, negate, banish, link 4. It's insane.
Final words on the deck?
Buy it because it's cheap and it's good.